The Homeowners Association rulebook was 50 pages of architectural tyranny. But even I didn't expect Rhonda to weaponize it against a grape. I watched her perfectly manicured hand dial 911, pointing across the crushed stone path at my 100-year-old Cabernet vines like they were a cartel operation. "This smell is a clear nuisance violation," she shrieked into the phone, her voice a sharp, high-pitched whine that cut through the hot, dry Central Valley air. What in God's name was wrong with these people? This wasn't some cookie-cutter suburb. This was 2 acres of legacy farmland, and she was complaining about the sweet, earthy scent of a successful harvest. I took a deep, shuddering breath, the scent of yeast and fermenting fruit filling my lungs, a smell I associated with pure, honest work. Rhonda, or the Rhonda, as I privately called the Homeowners Association Architectural Review Chair, was wearing a pristine white linen suit, somehow entirely unstained despite the dust, looking every bit the villain in a daytime soap opera. She had only moved into the sprawling McMansion next door 3 years ago, but in that short time, she'd declared a personal war on everything that didn't look like a marble-tiled mausoleum, including my family's winery, Elias and Sons. "Rhonda," I called out, trying to keep the weary exhaustion out of my voice. "It's called winemaking. It's what pays the Homeowners Association fees that fund your relentless attempts to ban gnomes." She simply sniffed, turning her back, her posture radiating self-importance. Had she truly lost all connection to reality? I walked toward the shed, the crunchy sound of dried vine leaves under my boots a stark contrast to her delicate, silent movements. I knew the rulebook inside and out. I had to. Our property was covered by an original agricultural protection covenant, a legal shield established decades before the Homeowners Association had even paved the first cul-de-sac. It protected the operation of the vineyard, smells, sounds, and all. I had patiently explained this to her in 3 different certified letters, but Rhonda believed the sheer force of her opinion could supersede state law. That's the core of a Karen, isn't it? The unwavering belief that their inconvenience is a legislative emergency. Less than 15 minutes later, I heard the unmistakable sigh of tires on gravel. Not the small, quiet sedan I expected, but 2 large official sheriff's department SUVs. Great, just great. 2 uniformed deputies, Miller and Rodriguez, stepped out. They were both young, professional, and looked profoundly unenthused about intervening in a battle over Vitis vinifera. Rhonda immediately descended upon them, speaking rapidly, using words like public health hazard, unlicensed alcohol production, and the crown jewel. They are attracting undesirables. Undesirables, meaning the 3 seasonal workers who had been picking Zinfandel since dawn. "Ma'am, with all due respect, what exactly is the nature of the emergency?" Deputy Miller asked, his face a mask of practiced neutrality, though I swore I saw his lip twitch. Rhonda thrust her phone at them, displaying blurry photos of my irrigation pump. "That pump is too loud. And look at that dirt!" she exclaimed, gesturing wildly at the rich, dark soil that was literally the foundation of my livelihood. I stepped forward, hands raised in a gesture of peace and utter bewilderment. "Deputies, thank you for coming. I'm Elias Thorne, the owner." She called because my grapes are fermenting. "This is a licensed, bonded winery. We're exempt under the original deeds." Rhonda scoffed, a truly magnificent, theater-level scoff. "Exempt? Nonsense. The aesthetics are a 10-point violation, and the noxious fumes are assaulting my property values. I want them shut down now." Deputy Rodriguez, who had been studying the vineyard with a puzzled expression, finally spoke. "Sir, can you confirm the property boundary? She's claiming this trellis encroaches." That was the secondary twist. Rhonda wasn't just mad about the smell. She thought a specific vine was crossing the line by 6 inches. "Absolutely," I said, my heart starting to pound not from fear, but from the realization that this was the moment. I walked into the shed and came back out, not with the massive official covenant document, but with a simple, laminated single page. It was the specific, crystal-clear ruling I'd gotten from the county attorney 6 months ago, preemptively covering all homeowners association arguments. I handed it to Deputy Miller. It stated, in simple English, that the parcel was designated permanently protected agricultural land, and that any attempts by the homeowners association to regulate its appearance, odor, or legal operations were deemed ultra vires, beyond their legal power, and punishable as harassment. Crucially, the ruling referenced the exact GPS coordinates and the property survey, noting that the fence Rhonda had installed was actually 6 inches into my land, meaning her fence was the encroachment. Deputy Miller read the document once, his eyebrows inching up his forehead. He read it again, then looked at Rhonda, then back at the document. A low chuckle escaped him, which he quickly tried to cover with a cough. Deputy Rodriguez read over his shoulder, and a slow, wide grin spread across his face. "Rhonda," Miller said, using her first name with a noticeable lack of respect. "The issue is not the grapes. It seems the issue is that your new fence is 6 inches into Mr. Thorne's protected agricultural easement. You are, technically, trespassing on a licensed production facility." Rhonda's face went from pale pink to a vibrant, mottled crimson. She opened her mouth to argue, but no sound came out, just a series of tiny, indignant gasps. Her eyes darted from the deputies to me, and back again, searching for an ally that wasn't there. "So, if there's no public danger or crime in progress," Rodriguez said, turning his back slightly to Rhonda, leaning in toward me. "Hypothetically, Elias, since we're here, is that your 2019 Merlot I smell finishing up?" I couldn't help but grin. The emotional whiplash was glorious. "It is," I replied, "and it's finally ready for a taste. A pre-tasting for, say, 2 civil servants upholding the law." Deputy Miller nodded slowly, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "Well, ma'am," he announced to Rhonda, loud enough for the neighbors watching from their windows to hear, "it appears there is no actionable violation here. In fact, we've determined that Mr. Thorne is operating well within his legal rights to produce quality wine." He paused, then gave the most beautiful, dramatic sigh of contentment. "Speaking of rights, I believe I have the right to accept a sample of local agricultural excellence." The deputies walked toward the shed. I grabbed 3 glasses, poured 3 fingers of the deep, velvety Merlot, and handed one to each of them. We stepped back out onto the gravel path, the glasses catching the harsh afternoon light. Rhonda was still standing exactly where she was, frozen in place, a statue of pure, impotent rage. "To the rule of law," Deputy Rodriguez said, lifting his glass. "And the sweet smell of justice," Deputy Miller added, winking at me. We all clinked glasses, and then they drank. Right there, on the edge of the vineyard, in clear view of Rhonda's sprawling front windows. Rhonda finally found her voice, a choked, defeated sound. You can't do that," she sputtered, her linen suit suddenly looking wrinkled and inadequate. "It's a clear violation of the HOA's Good Conduct Clause." Deputy Miller looked at her over the rim of his glass, took a slow, deliberate swallow, and then let out a robust, genuine laugh. "Ma'am," he said, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand, "your homeowners association has no jurisdiction here, and frankly, we're done here. Consider this your official warning about the location of your fence. Have a wonderful day." They finished their wine, thanked me, climbed back into their SUVs, and drove off, leaving Rhonda alone, stewing in the literal dust of my perfectly legal, beautifully fragrant operation. The sweet, earthy scent of the fermenting grapes no longer felt like a point of contention, but a perfume of quiet victory. Standing up to petty tyranny isn't just about winning a legal argument. It's about claiming the space to be authentic and real, even when a Karen is determined to pave over every piece of natural beauty with concrete and control. What a beautiful, bitter end for her. The vineyard stood, and its bounty would be celebrated, one glass at a time. This wasn't just a battle over property lines. It was a toast to common sense.